Hang on one second. I forgot to turn my monitor on, guys. Sorry about that. All right. All right. How is everybody doing tonight? Malia should be up here any minute now, but everybody else, welcome. Oh man, I forgot to change the sign. Fail on me. That is one of the things that is going to be much better when all our new technology comes. We got a whole bunch of stuff coming, and it's going to be awesome. Like really awesome. We are live, no premiere. Yeah, we're tossing around the idea right now of staying live, period, for everything. So the biggest request in the community is that we get on breaking stories quick, like on top of them when they're breaking, because people want to hear what our opinion is on those stories. So we might end up doing that. I'm not sure. We're doing a little bit of a test run right now. We're doing the Thought Riot podcast live, and we're just testing things out. You know, that's why we did the Sebastian Rogers coverage earlier. So give me 1 second here. Let me just get this promotion done. That's one of the things I got to do in the beginning. So hang on 1 second here, and we will be good to go. For everybody else, though, welcome to the True Crime Talk Show, brought to you by Thoughtriotpodcast. My name's Brendan. I am one of your hosts, and Malia will be here any minute now, and we will be digging into a whole bunch of stories. So I think we're going to be covering like 3 different stories tonight. Sebastian Rogers, Idaho 4, and the Idaho 4 is actually a viewer requested topic, which is awesome. Anytime we can cover viewer requested topics, I feel like they go really well. So hang on 1 second. Why is this? Once we have our new setup, once we have all our new tech here, you guys, oh man, it's going to make this live so much easier. So much easier. But yeah, it should be good. It should be real good. I hope everybody else is doing good. I feel like yesterday's live went really well also for the first Thought Riot podcast. And let's check this out. All right, we got quite a bit of engagement here. Awesome. Yeah, and you know, since we went live, our views took a little bit of a hit, but that's okay though, because the views aren't even what's important on YouTube. The amount of ads being watched is, according to YouTube. So that all has gone through the roof, just going live, longer amounts of live time. but it should be a good time. And hello, everybody. Hello, hello. All right, good to go. No, it's not a White Claw. No. Yeah, there's a lot of lives that aren't going to be planned. We're just going to hop on here. You know, I can work from home, so that makes stuff like that easier as long as it gets done. But all right, everybody, welcome. You can clear my throat here. You can find us at every major podcast platform. We are actually bigger internationally on every other podcast platform. And awesome thing here, we just hit 10 million views nationally, which is phenomenal, like amazing. In 18 months doing 10 million views. So we are on every podcast platform, on all of them. We're at Thought Riot Podcast or / Thought Riot Podcast, which is incredible at the 10 million views. So on YouTube and all social media, we are at Thought Riot Podcast, also spelt all the way out. So you can find us at Twitter. We have a Discord, and I will post that Discord now. So it is a good time. Come hang out with us. Yes, less editing, more hours recorded and less editing. And right now, our views are actually, what's nice with lives is your views come later. So like without pre-recorded content, you don't have the ability to blow up on the internet. Like our first videos that came out blew up. You know, we got 50,000 views on one, 40,000 views on one. Lives don't do that. That's not how lives work. And I've been doing a whole bunch of research into lives, and lives are consistent views over time. So like the more effort we put into our lives, the better they'll be. Like if you look at some of our lives that we did, yeah, it's like marathon running. Exactly. If you look at some of our lives that we put out, you know, a week ago, in the first 2 days, they have like 2,000 views, but now they're at 10,000. So there is some nice padding for creators to be able to do that. And it also gives us the ability to talk with everybody more. And I really like that. I feel like covering news and topics and everything like that while being able to see live reactions are incredible, you know? Absolutely incredible. So it should end up being good. It should end up helping the CPT, or, you know, dollars CPN or whatever, dollar per minute. It should help everything having to do with Thought Riot Podcast, which will allow us to give you guys more often. So awesome. Welcome everybody, and we will get into it. Are there any topics specifically that you wanted to cover? I know that we're doing Idaho 4 and Sebastian. What should we get into first?
It doesn't matter to me. I guess Sebastian is kind of at the front of my mind.
Yeah.
Just because I've been looking into a lot today. And let me tell you, it's a lot. It's a lot. This case is a lot. Okay.
A lot of drama.
Unfortunately, lately, there are some real drama queens, and I say queens not based on gender. You know, it could be male or female, who have sunk their dirty little claws into this case, I swear. And it just created a mess. And so honestly, I'm kind of wondering if it's not intentional a little bit. If somebody isn't stirring the pot to literally mess up the search for Sebastian.
It is.
And it is messing it up.
That's one thing that, like, especially lately with all the drama and everything going on with our channel, when I look at mainstream media and I see them like looking at the true crime community and being like, hey, it's so frustrating having this or having that. I understand where they're coming from. I don't think their approach is right. I don't think just looking at somebody and like, hey, you shouldn't be doing that is ever the right way to go about anything in any situation. But I understand where it's coming from, because the whole point of the true crime community is to put focus and attention and put more energy into solving cases, finding people, and overall helping the society. And that's not a new idea either. Everyone talks about the true crime community like it's some kind of new idea. You guys, there have been neighborhood watches for 100 years. You know what I mean? Like, that is what the true crime community is. It is a neighborhood watch. So when people come into it and try and create drama and all this other stuff just because they can't handle their own human emotions of jealousy or whatever the reason is that they aren't adult enough to handle their own emotions, all it does is ends up harming humanity, you know, the human race. And it's really unfortunate. And in this case specifically, it's not helping find a little boy. So, you know,
yeah,
all it does is pull all the attention away from a little boy.
It absolutely is.
You know?
One interesting thing that's happening is they are doing a new search starting, I believe, today. I think it literally started today. I was trying to find more details on it because I was trying to find like an article or something, because I remember hearing about it earlier, but I didn't pull something up before we hopped on here to actually talk about it. But yes, the authorities are actually going boots on the ground, like searching. And well, it sounds like it's only supposed to last a couple days, which is interesting. I don't know exactly what they're looking for.
Well, is that in response to the glasses that they just found, maybe?
Well, you know what's really interesting? Those glasses were found in Gallatin.
Oh.
Weird, right? And apparently
I
that's
thought it was
near
in front of the house.
Well, it is in front of a house, but I didn't think it was their house. I thought I was hearing it was found in Gallatin. And it's by a family member's house. Is what I was hearing today. So, they might have
a family member's house.
You know what's okay, so I wanted to bring this up. Did you hear about them searching a landfill?
So wait, what? I'm curious what family member's house, because and I'm sure we're gonna get into this, guys. And honestly, I probably need to set a timer up, because I could go on forever with this case right now, with the insanity around the threats, with the insanity around what it feels like his parents have and or are doing. It's absolutely insane. So I don't know. I could go on forever, but I didn't mean to interrupt you. What were you saying?
Have they officially come out and said they aren't his glasses?
I haven't seen that.
Oh, yep, it was confirmed they're not his glasses.
Okay, great.
Yep. They confirmed those glasses were not his.
I'm still curious what family's house they were found at, because, like, why are you looking at a family's house or by a family's house?
Okay, so you remember how okay, this was a while back, but they And this is something I was thinking about today. It's not new information or anything like that, you guys. But they were searching a Kentucky landfill. And this was the beginning of March.
A Kentucky?
Yeah.
Landfill?
And the reason it was a Kentucky landfill is that that's where all the trash from their neighborhood goes. Do you remember how last night I was talking about the fact that there's no proof of Sebastian leaving the home, and that the only video they have of anything near that home that night in early morning is a trash truck?
Yeah.
Were they thinking, oh, is that the only way he could have left?
Yeah. Got it.
Is the trash the only way he could have left because we have nothing else to go off of? And found nothing.
Yeah.
There's other reasons they could look. Like, there's other really good reasons to look in the trash.
Sure.
But that is implying either Sebastian planned it or somebody in the home is involved. Now, that could be reading too much into it. It's just questions I have. Just questions I have. Because we know that they said nobody's been cleared. Katie Proudfoot came out and said she has, and so did Chris, that they were officially cleared. And investigators came out yesterday at the press conference and said nobody had been cleared. Not anybody. But mainly what I wanted to touch on, and I'll try to find more on the search as we're talking here, but mainly what I wanted to talk about to do with this case is the fact, these threats. It's continuing to be on my mind. The threats are weird to me. They really send up a red flag for me. They make me wonder, who is somebody orchestrating these threats with some kind of intention? And one really interesting thing that I saw, and you guys, I'm only talking about this to look at the evidence, okay? Just to look at the evidence, to look at what this man said, not to engage in any of the drama, because I don't care about that at all. Could care less about it. I think it's all super silly. And we're not about that on Thoughtriotpodcast or the True Crime Talk Show. That's not what we're here to do. We're here to think tank and ask questions, and also not point fingers. So at any point in this conversation, I'm not pointing fingers at any parents or the United Cajun Navy or any other content creator. None of them. I'm only asking questions.
There's just no room for anything like that here,
Right.
No room at all. So
I'm going to intentionally not use his name because there's already been so much hate and there's just no point. So all you need to know is he's a major player in the United Cajun Navy. He makes decisions. He's like a leader, okay? And he was on a show, a content creator by Crime Sleuthin. She goes by the name Crime Sleuthin. That's her channel. And he was supposed to come on her show and ended up backing out. And based off of just feeling like it wasn't a good idea after watching the chat, watching what was going on and what she was saying, and he just felt like it was going to end up being more problems than creating a solution. Which is his right. Well, she apparently had a conversation with him on the phone beforehand and recorded it. Now, I don't think that's right. She didn't tell him that she was recording it, and she also never told him she was going to play it on air. So there's no permission there. I want to say that even if you're in a one-party state, that doesn't matter. It actually depends on what state the person you're recording is in, for one. And for two, even if that person is in a one-party state, there's still many ways, because people have the right to privacy, many ways you could get in trouble. So we won't be playing this recording. But you can find it if you want to. Anyway, in this recording that she ends up playing because he backed out, He says that they didn't actually back out of the search.
Yeah.
And I found that very, very intriguing that they're basically doing a search under cover.
Yeah.
Which, you know, Seth, the biological father, came out and said that they called him and said they were pulling out. So honestly, I think he lied. I think and that's fine. Good on him for lying. Honestly, that's smart. Super intelligent thing to do. All he cares about is finding his son and keeping everybody safe, which that lie accomplishes all of those things by still having people helping you. Because at the end of the day, even if you believe the United Cajun Navy has some scammy business practices, have not handled things well, have made mistakes, it's still more volunteers searching for Sebastian. And that's only a good thing. Only a good thing. So to run them out of town isn't necessarily benefiting anything. They are requested there by Seth, the biological father himself.
Yeah.
He wants them there. That's his right to have them there. You know what I mean? And I don't think these threats are coming from them. They're the ones being threatened and having things thrown at them and stuff.
Yeah.
And having their safety put at risk.
Yeah, I think that, look,
I found that really interesting.
I see a couple people mentioning a few things like she can record it. I have no idea if it's legal or not, you guys, but there's a certain level of expected etiquette between people, right?
Yeah, and it's not ethically right, in my opinion. I wouldn't do that.
You treat people how you want to be treated, and these people were taking their own time, and time is money, and going out there and searching for this kid. And don't get me wrong, have I raised red flags against this United Cajun?
Yeah, there's some red flags.
Absolutely.
There seems like there's some shady business practices, possibly.
It doesn't feel like it's a good idea to try and set a landmine to harm them and make them want to back out of searching. There is a certain level of etiquette here. And that's why the true crime community takes the heat that it does, is for behaviors like this, you know? And I'm not judging anybody. I am not judging anybody, because I've made a million mistakes myself, and it's very easy to do something wrong and like, oh shoot, I should have never done that. And after the fact, I'm like, whoa, that was a big mistake, and now I see why I shouldn't have done that, you know? I'm wrong all the time.
And we have to meet people where they're at, okay? And hold them accountable. That's not taking away from accountability, okay? Accountability is extremely important for people growing. If you're not holding somebody accountable, then you're hindering them from growing as a person and learning from their mistake. So I'm not saying that nobody should be held accountable to their actions. However, in the same respect, we have to meet people where they're at and understand where they're at. And I don't see people as lost causes. You know, I come from a background where I've known a lot of different people on the outskirts of society who have a lot of issues, you know, addiction, things where they're not great people, but have changed and become the best people that I've ever known. So people are capable of change. People are capable of, you know, having second chances. And I'm not judging anybody at all. I'm not judging Crime Sleuthin'. I'm not judging anybody involved in the United Cajun Navy. I just know that there is a father out there desperately hunting for his son, searching everywhere he can look. And he needs help.
Yeah.
He needs help. And for people to be threatening the people that are helping him and trying to disparage their reputations is not helping him.
Yeah,
so don't say you care about Seth or his son or any of that if you're going to disparage the people that are trying to help him.
Yeah, I don't know if we should approach it like that. I think, like I just said, that, you know, mistakes happen. Okay. It could be a mistake. It's not as so final as saying, well, if you made a
True.
mistake, then you don't care about this kid. That's not true. That's not true. It means you made a mistake, and we need to you need to change your angle and approach the situation from a different perspective and continue to focus on what's important in the situation. And in this situation, what's important is finding this child. But the current drama, the stuff that we can't change, that's already out there, that needs to be talked about, is not helping, you know.
It isn't. And I was coming at it from a place where, you know, your actions are louder than your words. Saying you care only means so much if all your actions don't show it.
Yeah.
So that's all I'm saying. Now, I do agree with everything you said, though.
Yeah, that whole situation is really unfortunate and really interesting.
But I found it. Yeah, go ahead.
I still want to talk about the parents. And the reason I want to talk about the parents is we've had quite a few people on our show and people that have watched us for a long time that are unhappy with all the red flags that we're talking about with the parents. So anytime I see someone that's unhappy, the type of person I am is I approach it and I have a conversation, you know? So anytime there's any animosity or problems or anything like that, that's what I want to talk about like an adult. And I want people to understand that when I'm calling out these red flags from the parents, these are red flags that I would call out for anyone in any situation. They are not specific to Sebastian. They are not specific to his parents. They are decisions that have been made that look problematic in any situation. Listen, you guys, I have no idea how many of you have kids out there. But if your kid went missing, okay, your child went missing. If you don't have kids, think of the person that you care about the most, because parents should care about their child more than any other person in their life. If that person went missing and somebody was supposedly verbally threatening you, does that make you, drop everything and I'm out of here? Or would you stay and continue to try and find your kid? I understand there's this argument out there that, well, they were being threatened. Okay, and because I don't think that's what the average or common decision would be for parents. I don't think parents would care. I think parents would probably, depending on where you're at in the country, go grab a gun and continue looking. Like, you know what I mean? I just can't see a verbal threat stopping somebody from looking for their kid. There's no way. So I don't understand how it's not a red flag. I just don't get it. I don't think that's a good enough explanation. I can't see anybody being like, look, I know my kid's missing, but somebody yelled at me or threatened me, so I'm out of here. You guys, what? Threats are just words. They mean nothing.
Yep.
We get them every day. You just ignore and move on. Words are meaningless. It's the feelings behind those words that make a change in somebody's life or not. So, I don't know anything about them. So I have no idea about those parents, but in my opinion, that is a red flag. It doesn't mean guilt. It does not mean guilt, but it is absolutely a red flag. I think a red flag is defined as anything that is outside of what the standard behaviors would be in any situation, right?
Yeah, I agree with you. Can you pull up a picture? But
what just Sebastian?
Yeah, just his poster. But if you guys don't know what's going on here or what we're even talking about right now, we're talking about Sebastian Rogers, and Brennan's going to pull up his missing poster on the screen. He is 5 feet 5 inches tall, 120 pounds of dirty blonde hair, last seen Monday, February 26, wearing all black, said to be wearing a black sweatshirt and black sweatpants. I also heard a black t-shirt. So I don't know. His mom you know, they had a busy day. They went out to dinner. They went bowling. They went grocery shopping. And that's literally in backwards order. That day before he went missing, came home. You know, he played at home. She told him to go to bed. And that was the last she saw him. She heard a thud in his room that night, and told him, you know, I don't care what you're doing in there, go back to sleep or get to sleep. And he said, okay, mama. And that was the last she ever heard of her son. Since then,
another red flag is that's not what was said in the beginning. And I just want
that
to
is
highlight
again, that's not what was said in the beginning. That
Right.
is a story that has evolved over time. Also, it is said all his shoes were accounted for, none were missing. The only thing that was missing is this barefoot 15-year-old boy and apparently a keychain flashlight. And he wears glasses, as you can see in the picture, and he's autistic. And he's apparently said to not be a runner. He is not a kid who runs away, which some autistic kids can be. That they can be wanderers that run away. That's not him. With the parents, okay, there's a lot of drama surrounding that because a lot of people don't like people pointing fingers at the parents. That's not our thing. We're asking questions because there are strange behaviors.
Yeah.
For instance, one thing I noticed very early on in their interviews was using past tense words about him. Like, you know, he was, were, you know, saying things past tense. And they didn't always do that, but there was a few times they did, and I was like, that's kind of weird. Also, them packing up and leaving their home, and you know, in a camper. And you know, Katie Proudfoot, the mother, claims she's accompanying her husband, Sebastian's stepfather, to his job, and he works in Memphis, and stays in a camper out there instead of a hotel. And she said she didn't know when she was going to be back. And this was on Nancy Grace's show. And that has really made people ask a lot of questions. Before that, I wasn't so much questioning the parents until they packed up and left. And they said it was partly because of threats. And then after we heard they were getting threats, we started hearing the United Cajun Navy's getting threats. And that all started after JLR came out and started calling them out, calling them a scam.
So,
and then now Seth, the biological father, who has been working so hard to find his son, is claiming he's getting threats. Like his volunteers are getting threats. That's where all this drama is stemming from, and a bunch of content creators bashing each other and stirring the pot, essentially.
And some of our viewers, which are literally Thought Riot podcast viewers, I swear, man, the theories that people come up with and the connections that people make, you guys are absolutely incredible. Like, it's so incredibly smart. And I want to get into a couple of those. I took pictures of them. I was trying to find them here, but one thing I want to say is what's interesting with the shoes, okay, is everyone will tell you there's no such thing as a perfect crime. There's no such thing as a perfect investigation. There is no such thing as a perfect case, right? So if they were to end up being guilty, I think forgetting the shoes is something that could be overlooked and something that later on you could be like, whoa, I can't believe I forgot to do that. Because one of the first things that police officers ask when there's a missing person is they ask the parents or person in charge of them, or family member or relative, whoever's in the house with them, to check their clothing and look for missing clothing. They want to try and identify and learn if they packed a bag. They want to know what they took with them and how to point that out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So seeing that, it makes me wonder if that's something that could have been overlooked. And then the cop got there and they were like, hey, can you check this? And they were like, uh-oh, I forgot.
But why wouldn't they just lie and claim he had a pair of shoes that he didn't have?
Because the birth father could verify that. there's other people in their life that could verify that.
But he didn't own a pair of shoes like that.
Yeah, that's not a good thing to do, in my opinion. I do not think that's a good thing to do.
Yeah, I could see that for sure. Would be a really bad idea to do that. You know what's interesting is I just saw this pop up here. It's about here. I think we should watch this real quick. Let me send this to you.
I mean, how long is it?
And it's Nancy Grace. Is that okay?
I mean,
it's 2 minutes long. It's a clip from her show, I'm assuming.
Oh yeah, that's okay. That's okay. Yep. That falls within the law. Yeah, send it to me. So, okay, so this is
because this is an important bit, I think. And it's an interview with Seth Rogers, and that's what's important, because this was also apparently said. Oh yeah, it was in the Pascal show. That's where I heard it originally. Is that Seth Rogers didn't want to go home, or not Seth Rogers, Sebastian Rogers didn't want to go from his bio dad's house to his mom's house.
Yeah.
He wouldn't want to go.
Yeah.
He would get frustrated, but then he wouldn't tell him why. That's another huge red flag.
I agree with you.
Huge.
100%.
Like, was something going on, and this kid was like being told, if you tell anybody, something's going to happen. Trigger warning. Is this interview bad? Oh, because it's okay.
I was listening to a statement back to Seth Rogers. Seth, I have so many questions for you, but we're running out of our time together for today. But I want to ask you this. I was listening to a statement of one of Mr. Proudfoot's wives. I believe there have been 5. I'm not judging. I don't care who marries who or doesn't marry who. But this particular one, named Nina, stated that they had 2 children. One she had from a prior relationship, the second she had with him, and that the daughter had braces, and he hit the daughter in the mouth and busted her mouth. Guys, remember, Mr. Proudfoot nor the mother have been named a suspect or a POI in this case. My question to you, Seth, did you know about any of that? I mean, she's on tape saying it. I watched her say it. Did you have any idea that there may have been other issues of violence with children?
No, ma'am, I didn't. And I know that Chris has been in Sebastian's life for a while now, before me and Katie were divorced. So
What?
Has Sebastian ever said to you or tried to communicate to you abuse in the home?
No. He's
Really?
on multiple occasions sit there and has told me he doesn't want to go back. And I've asked him, why don't you want to go back? And he wouldn't tell me. He didn't say why. He was just like, I just don't want to go back. And it's, at that point in time, I'm just like, okay, well, maybe it's the freedom that he gets at my house. And he's a teenager. And now I'm finding out a lot of this stuff. And I wish he had told me.
Nancy, if I can jump in for just a second there.
Yeah, that is heartbreaking, interesting. And you know what I heard is I heard that and they're called the Proudfoots, right? That's what everyone's calling them. So I heard the
stepfather and mother.
Yeah, I heard the Proudfoots are going around threatening lawsuits with people and everyone.
Even the bio dad, they threatened Seth, and this came out of Seth's mouth, okay, on the Pascal show, which shout out to him, that somebody started a GoFundMe to pay because he is out of work while searching for Sebastian. And he obviously needs money. Like there's no secret here, you guys. We all need money to live, money for food. Like food costs
Yeah,
money. Your
yeah.
house costs money.
Mhm.
Water costs money. Electricity costs money. Like you have to have money to live.
Yeah.
So somebody started a GoFundMe for him so that he could be out of work to continue looking for Sebastian. And the Proudfoots threatened a lawsuit against him if he didn't take it down.
Man, and that kind of information,
That's
look,
gross.
so many people out there are afraid of attorneys. If someone just threatens a lawsuit, that who cares? Everyone. I used to hear people when I was like under 18, my parents will sue you. Like that's what it reminds me of. Okay, you got a lawsuit going on, and unless it's a substantial amount of money, most lawyers won't even look into it. You know, maybe you have a lawsuit if your attorney will take it up for $0. But I mean, the big problem in that situation is if there would be legal issues. If law enforcement is willing to pick it up, then it becomes a problem. You know what I mean? It's just one of those topics that everyone thinks they can throw around and it makes people scared. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm going to send you the GoFundMe if you want to pull it up on screen, and I will post it in the chat, you guys, because I saw Cynthia ask if we would share it. Absolutely. I meant to actually do that last night and totally forgot about it. So let's do it now because I support him getting money so he can continue to be out of work to look for his son. I think there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I think it makes sense.
Lawsuits are expensive. You guys, you're right. That's even, and it's not even that they're only expensive, it's the amount of time. You know what I mean? So like I can only speak from personal experience, and I've been involved in a couple. I've been involved in a couple through work. I've been involved in a couple through personal, and they are such a headache. They take so much time. It's just a pain. But what's interesting is people like to throw them around like something could and or will happen. I've got to be honest, like for me personally, I would never pursue a lawsuit unless we're talking like $500,000 or more. That's just me personally. I'm not willing to invest 2 years for $10,000 or whatever it ends up coming to in a civil lawsuit. It's always monetary values. But if there's something there, I always suggest to people that you reach out to law enforcement and ask their opinion, you know?
Yeah.
So it really sucks in this situation that, because was this one, am I mixing them up? Was this, oh, no. That's the Delphi GoFundMe that wasn't able to take payments, right? That's not the Sebastian one. Yeah, it's the Delphi one. It is. I was mixing it up.
Okay. But yeah, this is made by Sebastian Rogers' aunt, Seth Rogers' sister, to help him while he's out of work, to help support him.
And did you put the link in the chat?
Yes, I did, and I
Okay.
will do it again. So feel free to donate if you wish.
Awesome.
He could use the help.
Awesome.
He really could. But yeah, it's in the chat if you want the link.
Yeah, that's incredible.
So I found it interesting that in that interview it wasn't really an interview, it was a recorded phone call with one of the leaders of the United Cajun Navy on Crime Sleuthins channel, that he said they didn't actually pull out of the search. So it seemed like they wanted it to appear that they pulled out of the search. And he talks about the threats they had been getting. And he said they were getting them because they were on to something.
Okay, so back step. Like,
And there's a part
I wish
where
I could loan our attorneys to people.
there
That
was
would be
a
really
part,
awesome, but
there's a part where he mentions a body, and people have accused Crime Sleuth of editing this. Okay, I want to make that clear that I have no idea if it's been edited or not. People claim that she edited it to make it sound like that. I don't know, but the part that is clear to me that doesn't sound edited at all is the part where he says that they were on to something and they appeared to pull out of the search, but didn't. Essentially, they're still searching for him. They just wanted people to think they weren't because of these threats. That's the impression and what I took away from that, which made me wonder, because I was asking the questions last night, who is benefiting from these threats and prohibiting Seth and the searchers from being able to actually search? Who's benefiting from that? Who doesn't want Sebastian found?
I didn't know they could do that. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, those are the questions I was asking too.
But
So
don't you think that's interesting?
I got to get into my thinking space. We just have a whole bunch of people on here from other platforms again, which is awesome. That's incredible. Welcome everybody. So yeah, I think it is interesting, and I think that needs to be the main solution to every problem in any situation, regardless of the crime, is always going back to asking why, right? Why are people so afraid of different opinions? Why are people so afraid to ask what's causing certain behavior traits? Why are people afraid to ask why the Proudfoots are doing this, or why the Proudfoots left, or why, you know what I mean? Like, you can ask why in almost anything. And it seems like people are being put down for doing that. That doesn't feel very fair. And that doesn't feel like it's beneficial to the child, you know?
I agree with you. It doesn't feel beneficial at all. Not at all.
Yeah. What's that?
It's about the eyeglasses and the new search. Because I said I was going to find something on the new search just for that update. But yeah, that's it. When you start, I mean, looking at all the people who have gotten threats, it's anyone who's looking for him, but it's also the parents, and the parents that people are questioning. So
yeah,
like, is there also a benefit in maybe one of these people? I'm not saying Chris and Katie Proudfoot, anybody claiming they're getting threats, but not actually getting threats. They just want to make it appear they are, like everyone else.
Yeah.
Like any of the parties involved. Just asking the question. Okay. So
yeah,
here we have from the Independent that the glasses were not Sebastian's. They officially came out with a statement today, saying that they're not his. They're not related to the Sebastian Roger case. And this update comes after they were seen searching. Dozens of officers were seen searching around a highway known as Long Hollow Pike, just north of Hendersonville. It says that they were, so I can't read that far. Do you want to read it right there?
Where? Right there?
Yeah.
So, okay.
It's hard.
In a
just can't see
statement,
that good.
SCSO said it and other agencies were conducting another thorough search of the area close to where the 15-year-old vanished on the 25th of February. Despite exhaustive efforts, there are no new leads or evidence to indicate the search will be immediately fruitful. SCSO said, however, we are committed to leaving no stone unturned in our mission to locate Sebastian and bring him home safely. Photos and videos from the scene showed officers scouring the area on foot, including climbing through thickets along creeks, while rafts were also brought in. Interesting.
Yeah, and the SCSO, if you don't know, that is the Sumner County Sheriff's Office.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's so they're going back to, you know, look some places over. I'm curious what exactly they're looking for or what the lead was. But yeah, we'll see if anything turns up out of it.
Yeah.
Turns up from it.
Yeah, that's incredible. So I want to go to a theory that somebody had brought up, right?
Okay.
And as you guys know, I am a network and technology expert. It has been my field of profession for too long, right? Well, you know, I'm 29. I have been 29 for 5 birthdays now, you know. But not really. But anyway, so people tend to submit technology related questions, okay?
They do.
And somebody brought up, hey, let me give you a rundown here. If the stepdad could have left, and is there any way that the current situation could have happened? Like what I mean is the stepdad and the birth mother called law enforcement. They didn't call 911. They called the law enforcement non-emergency number, right?
Yeah.
But the stepdad wasn't there. Supposedly the stepdad was at a
In
job
Memphis.
site in Memphis, right?
3 hours away, yes.
Right. So, but the interesting connection would be, how would the stepdad's phone be connected with the mother's, who 3-wayed in to a non-emergency line? Can you think of anybody? No? So I was trying to break this down in my head, okay? Now, every phone out there, it doesn't matter what carrier you have, whether you're Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile, I don't know, any of the ones that run off of their tower, US Cellular, any of them that run off of their towers, okay? They all have a call forwarding command, like star 67, star 79, star 80, and that command, when punched in after a number, forwards that phone call. So, like, to give you guys a breakdown, an example of what I'm talking about here is, let's say I got a hold of Malia's phone, and for whatever reason, she couldn't have access to it, or I needed the phone. Let's say I got a hold of her phone and I wanted to be, I don't know, I'm trying to think of an honest reason to do this. There's not really an honest reason to take someone's phone and forward the calls. But okay, so let's say I want to do something shady, okay? I took Malia's phone and I want to forward all her calls to my phone because I want to know who's calling, okay? I punch in this command prompt, this star 80, and then my number, and anybody that calls Malia's phone will then be forwarded to me. So how could that work in this situation? What's interesting is there's a 3-way call. A 3-way call does not give data on both devices that are calling in. It only gives data on the device that called in, not the other person on the 3-way.
Oh.
Do you get where I'm going with that? And you remember, you guys, this is just theory. I'm not suggesting anything here. But let's say there's a burner phone at play here, okay? Let's say there's a burner phone at play here. And he went to Memphis and dropped his phone in Memphis, but forwarded his phone calls to a burner phone, a phone that he just bought at a gas station. Then they created this plan. And maybe, you know, Sebastian went with him to Memphis area, right?
So essentially what you're saying, just to put it in layman's terms, is that you could essentially leave your phone at a location, like Bryan Kohberger, for instance. If he wanted to get away with murder, okay, pretending he's guilty or something, he should have left his phone at home, got a burner phone, forwarded all of his stuff to his phone so that wherever he makes calls or looks things up from that burner phone, it only calls, it would appear that it's all happening from his phone that stays at home.
Yeah, correct.
Right?
So okay, let me go back to where I was saying. So if he, and I'll speed it up. I'll try and make it even more consumable. So he leaves his phone in Memphis, and that phone is communicating with the towers in Memphis, but the number is forwarded to a burner phone. He can go anywhere with that burner phone, and if they don't know that burner phone is like on the network and owned by him and registered to him, like what does that burner phone mean at all? Okay, there's nothing that states 100% that the police would be able to see in a cast report or any technology, his bill or anything like that, that was forwarding to another phone. So he leaves the phone in Memphis, drives back and does whatever they do, and then leaves with him in this theory. And then they use she calls his phone, that phone then transfers to the burner phone, and then she three-ways the number. It would appear as her and him three-weighing into the non-emergency number. So is that possible? Yes. And whoever left this comment, if you wanted a shout out, I'm sorry. When I took the picture of the comment without your name in it, not even thinking. So if you left that comment, I appreciate you. Just let me know if you want to shout out. I'll give you a shout out. Yeah, leave a comment. It's me. I'll give you a shout out. I always try to. So I apologize for that. But great questions going that direction. It had me thinking for a while. Wait, would they be able to see that the calls were being forwarded through the background billing? And no, depending on what service you use, no, not necessarily. Because the phone that your phone number is being forwarded to doesn't have to be on the same network. And I verified this. I called sources to verify this. That phone that the phone number is being forwarded to, if it's not on the network that the original phone is on, there is going to be no connection, no information, no data, no follow-up, no nothing. Ghost phone.
No way.
Yep.
So again, and this is just think tanking, you guys. We have no idea if like Chris or anybody has the knowledge necessary to actually do something like that. I do want to say, though, I'm curious what Chris Proudfoot did in the military and what his background is.
And huge shout out to Melinda Cook. I'm sorry it took me a long time
there you go.
To shout that out. But thank you for gifting 5 memberships to some of our new viewers or current viewers. So we appreciate everybody. Definitely appreciate you being willing to give so generously. So thank you.
Yes,
and
thank you a ton.
Bonnie M became a YouTube member. That is incredible. And we're super happy to have you here. Our YouTube members have definitely shot up. I think in the last month alone, we gained like 200 or something, which is incredible. So it's awesome to have you all here, and our membership videos keep growing in people hanging out with us. So it's awesome. You guys can then come in there and come tank it up with Thoughtriotpodcast. So thank you.
Yes.
But go ahead. I'm sorry. So we were talking about the phone, how surprising that is, what kind of possibilities they could have to do it. Because I've always felt like that was weird in this situation, that the 3-way call is weird because that is not somebody urgently going out of their way to call law enforcement. If your child goes missing, isn't it urgent? Wouldn't you think you would see the parents acting urgently to find their child?
Right.
Right?
Yeah, you would think.
I don't understand, but no, they're like, okay, he's not here. Let me just call so-and-so. Let me call his not father And hey, have you happened to see our young child with learning disabilities? No? Well, hang on. Let me just three-way over to, should I call the 911 number or should I call the non-emergency number? Well, let me look up this non-emergency number real quick so I can make sure I can get it right. Okay, now let's three-way over, click talk, three-way add number, over, call, boom. Like, that is not urgent.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm missing here.
You know, I did read earlier that early on in the case, within like the first couple weeks, they did obtain cell phone data. They did look at people's phones, and I would assume that means the parents. And I think if they actually got a hold of Chris Proudfoot's phone, it would show that, right? Like, would the police be able to see that?
That it was all forwarded?
Yeah.
No. Mm-mm.
Not on his phone?
Mm-mm. No. No.
Okay, so even if the police obtain his phone and cell tower data for his phone, it still wouldn't show that?
No. Mm-mm. That the forwarded phone would have to be on the same cell phone company as the forwarding phone.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Absolutely. They would have to be.
So it could be overlooked and not seen. Like they wouldn't have a clear way to tell that unless they had like the burner phone. Like, could they tell if they found the burner phone that was used to do that?
Yeah. If they found the burner phone, they could, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's actually pretty scary. That's totally a way to have a complete ghost phone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. But again, I mean, it's not pointing fingers at them. It's just asking questions. It's a theory. It's a theory of how somebody could be somewhere, appear to be somewhere that they're not, and them actually be where the crime happened.
Exactly. I agree. 100%.
Yeah.
I
Really,
agree
really
100%.
interesting.
I agree. 100.
Would the main phone's settings be manipulated at all to accomplish that? You're saying no, like they wouldn't. You wouldn't have to do anything to the main phone.
No, just punch in the code.
That's
So
it?
in the main phone, you would have to punch in the code to forward the number. So it would be like, let's say the code on that carrier was *80. Then it would be *80 and then the phone number that you're calling. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yep. Isn't that kind of scary?
It is scary. It's
I
super
agree.
scary, actually. I had no idea that was even possible.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that it opens up the opportunity for there to be foul play here. And what's even more interesting is within the technology aspects of any case, you guys, it's the same reason that I preach about tech nonstop, because most people don't understand it.
Yeah.
Most people have no idea how it works. Most people are afraid of it. They don't realize that as soon as you do anything online, that is forever recorded. There's no such thing as delete. Delete doesn't exist. I understand you're not going to see it on your home screen anymore or on the screen of your phone, but that does not mean that it's gone. It does not mean that it's gone, especially depending on what network you're on. If you're going through a certain server to access that data, all that is taken into account. All of it. All of it. Interesting, right?
It is interesting. I think what you're saying is, I mean, it would be interesting. I would wonder how, if that were a possibility, how somebody would know how to do that.
I mean, a little bit of Google searching. I bet here, I'll do it right now. While you're talking, I'll say how to appear in another place with your phone call. Is it possible? This is the second one down. Information security. Is it possible to make a phone call appear to come from another phone, even to a network provider? Second one down. Over 20 answers. Like,
Show it.
So easy. Well, I don't want to go through reading all of this.
You don't have to go through reading it. Don't read anything. But yeah, that was the second thing that popped up on the Google search result.
Yeah.
Okay,
So,
well, I mean, that's really interesting.
It would be really easy for somebody that doesn't have a lot of technology experience to Google search this and figure it out. You know what I mean? And that's how a lot of people get caught up doing crimes on technology, you guys. I've been in tech my whole life. My entire life, I've been in either sales, tech related, people management, tech related, network management, or manufacturing tech related. And they have entire security teams in these Fortune 100 companies that will research and look these things up all the time. Our Google buddy is on security. And that's all they do is look through the back end coding. That's it. So like in these companies, let's just say I worked for Google, okay? And I was in there and I was doing something shady. I don't know. I was just doing something shady. Let's say I was, I don't know, someone would buy marketing, but I was taking money out of the marketing and reducing it, which isn't possible, but let's just say that happened, okay? Every single click I made is tracked. It does not ever go anywhere. It is illegal not to. It can always be found. It's just saved on a cloud network server in a different area. And security, that's their entire job. Their entire job is that. What do you think the NSA does online? Like they check for these things everywhere. Everywhere.
Yeah, it's
So
really
it's interesting. It is interesting. Very interesting.
I'm just curious.
I wish I could tell you guys about my career. It's not because it's secretive. I joke all the time saying I'm CIA. It's not. It's just a joke. I'm just not allowed to. My job does not allow me to talk on social media in representation of this company. Okay. The day will come where we're full time and I will be 100% transparent with all of it. But I sign very serious Loctite agreements when I'm hired that will cause me to not only lose my job, but have to pay back bonuses, signing bonuses, and all this other stuff. So it's just not worth it. It's not because I want to hide it. And like, even if you guys figured it out, I'm literally not allowed to, and it says it in the agreement, I am not allowed to confirm that you're right. So I cannot represent the company on a personal basis at all if I'm not doing a commercial or marketing for them. I'm just not allowed to. I can tell you this. I have worked with every single Fortune 100 company on their network. That's how we know people in Apple. That's how we know people at Google. That's how we know people at YouTube. That's how we have all these contacts.
I'm just a consultant.
Because I've set up their networks.
I'm just a consultant. I consult
Yeah.
people like Scott Green.
Yep. All right. So this is interesting, but like I've said, I hope that we have other sponsors for the podcast, but I wish I could. That would be really cool. But that they would never do that. They would never ever do that. Because then I would be associated with it publicly, you know. But anyways, and huge shout out to Anti-Hero coming through with that big sticker. Thank you. I almost forgot about it. I apologize for that. But going back into this, I hope that nobody is watching this and thinking that we're coming sideways at some of these people that are involved in drama. It's part of the reason we're not saying names. It's part of the reason that we're not going into the details, because look, I am not here to claim that I am some great person that doesn't make mistakes. I think I make more mistakes than most people, you guys. Yeah, I think that I make more mistakes than most people because I don't think things through before I say them. As I'm talking, I'm thinking. A lot of times the words coming out of my mouth are coming out faster than I'm thinking them, all right? So I'm not here to say any of these people involved are doing anything wrong. I don't think they're doing anything wrong. I think that it's very easy in the true crime community to get up in your feelings. I think it's part of the reason that our channel has been messed with a whole bunch. I think there are people out there that are too up in their feelings. They don't like something. They have some kind of jealousy, and they're not adult enough to either just have a conversation with us or be upfront, you know? And it goes the same in this case too, where you have people that are involved, and some people are getting notoriety and recognition and being like high five on this case. Then you have other people that aren't. And sometimes to get focus, people make decisions that end up not doing anything beneficial for the case. And I think it's important to just reacclimate ourselves every chance we can to refocus on the goals here. And in this case, the goal is finding this child, whether hopefully alive, but you guys, he's been gone a very long time. So statistically, it's more probable right now that he's not, but that doesn't mean he's not. Okay. And this father and even the mother, regardless of what happens, deserves to know where he is. And every decision we make should be made with the intention of finding him, you know?
Absolutely.
So if people are out there threatening people that are searching, like, shame on you for doing that, man. Get people out there, you know, the more people out there, the better.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate, everything that's happened in this case so far. I feel like it's just so against the search for him. Like, everything that happens is like going against the efforts. Like, it's somebody's pushing against the grain. Like, somebody's pushing against finding him is what it feels like.
Yeah, and I saw Ian on here, one of our longtime supporters. We turned off all clipping right now because while our channel's going through the investigation, we had to force views to come in a certain way. And through clips makes it harder to track. So we have to turn them off for right now, and hopefully we'll be able to turn them on, because anybody can use our content. I don't care about that. I would never, you know, hit anybody with a claim for our content. So I apologize for that. I love your clips. Absolutely love them. But
too.
For right now, we're in evidence gathering phase. So
Gathering evidence on these people.
But yeah, so going back to the Sebastian.
What about it?
Weren't you saying something?
I was trying to remember what track, like, because you went on a very long tangent about a lot of different things. I was trying to remember what direction I was even going, and I don't even know now.
Yeah.
But I feel like we touched on a lot of really important things that I wanted to talk about in the case, and I really just have some major questions around those threats still. And I mean, honestly, I'm really watching the players in this case, okay? The people involved in the searches, the families. I feel like I will mention this again. Nina Gomez, Chris Proudfoot's ex-wife. Even if you think that that woman is crazy, okay? There could still be some truth to what she says. And if what she's saying is true, there's going to be police reports and there's going to be documentation of it. Let's see if those things come out. Let's see if those things get unearthed because she could back up her claims with real receipts. She absolutely could.
Of course.
Because this is an ongoing long-term custody battle where she has been served with documents numerous times and literally been detained by the police and all kinds of things. Like there's all kinds of things involving court systems, lawyers, and cops where things would be documented. So let's see if those things come out.
Yeah.
I think that if there's any truth to what she's saying at all, that's a huge red flag. It makes me look at Chris and his family, the Proudfoots and the Bowersox, like, what's going on here with you guys? Like, why? Like, I'm all about family, okay? Blood is thicker than water, all that kind of thing. I think family is incredibly important. But that doesn't mean I'm going to help kidnap anybody or help you get away with murder. Like we're not the Laundries, okay? Like, let's not be like Bryan Laundrie's parents. Let's hold people accountable when they do something wrong. Let's not go along with crazy plans to kidnap your child and things like that. And move somebody across the country to kidnap the kid. Things like that, they raise major questions for me because that makes me realize that Chris Proudfoot has a whole bunch of people behind him that will do things for him, that will have his back, and not just for like good, honest things. Yeah, don't you think it's really interesting? Their names are the Proudfoots and the Bowersox. Like, what did you guys come up with your own names?
Right. Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's interesting too. And like I said in the beginning, nothing I said is saying that these people are guilty. Red flags are just something that should be highlighted to look into further, you guys.
If you guys haven't seen Nina Gomez's,
it doesn't mean they're guilty. So I just wanted to say that
okay.
the
Sorry,
red
I cut you off.
flags
Go ahead.
with the parents does not mean they're guilty. Does not mean they're guilty. So
exactly. Absolutely, I agree. What was I saying though? Can you remind me?
I don't know.
What was I saying?
You just said sorry I cut you off.
Yeah, I was shooting it out there because I knew I was gonna forget, and then I forgot because I felt bad for cutting him off. The Proudfoot name reminds me of like giants or something for some reason, like or like some kind of nomadic tribe. Like that's what it. That's I don't know. It's odd. It's an odd last name. Kind of cool though. Kind of dig it a little bit. Bowersox in Dewey, Oklahoma were 1970s oil money rich. No way. Very interesting. Proudfoot is a Native American name. Interesting. I mean, that would make total sense. It would make a lot of sense. I had never heard that last name before until this case. Never. And, I've been to the area where Sebastian lived and went missing and surrounding areas of Middle Tennessee. I know people in those areas. I've been to those areas many times in my life, and I never met a Proudfoot before. They must be very local to Hendersonville or something. Most are saying Proudfoot is Scottish. Well, let me Google it. I don't know how much it matters. I know that Nina Gomez, Chris Proudfoot's ex-wife, she is Mexican and Native American, enough Native American that they have access to a reservation. Her kids go to a reservation school. And Chris Proudfoot did not like, according to her, that she was putting their daughter Faith in a reservation school. He was very against it and actually reopened the custody battle or something like that. Like tried to take her based off of that fact that she put her in a reservation school. And she said she feels that Chris has always hated that his daughter Faith is Native American.
What?
That's what she said. Now, again, like some of these things are very subjective, and like he may have never said that, you guys. That could be her coming to that assumption based off of things he said and has done, but he could actually be concerned because of like the reservations have a lot of crime. There's a high rate of drinking and addiction. Like he may not have full understanding of, the community that she's a part of and think all these things he thinks he knows about reservations and things like that. And she could just assume, well, he just hates Native Americans, but he could not. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't think Nina Gomez is involved in anything at all. I think she literally just came out to tell her story, but also maybe she has other intentions. I don't know. I know that she's still going through a custody battle with him, so it might be in her benefit to make him look really bad too. So you never know people's intentions on the internet. That's why I'm never quick to jump on a bandwagon. But it raises questions. Major questions.
Oh, here, I'll make it easier for you. And no worry, everyone has always said my name wrong.
Yeah, there are lots of crimes against Indigenous women, unfortunately. It's really disgusting and not talked about enough, to be honest.
Yeah, no, well, there's the crime rate against Native Americans or Indigenous people in general is huge, and then the Indigenous women that go missing, oh my gosh, it is so insane. It's like quadruple what an average person's percentage is. It's horrible. And I have a lot of Native American family members also, you guys. So there's quite a few reservations in Southern California that we got to frequent all the time. So it's definitely, it's interesting. It's interesting for sure. But and it doesn't make a lot of statistical sense. It doesn't make statistical sense, the crime rates on it.
This is not the last time we're going to talk about Sebastian Rogers' case. We will continue covering it. But I did want to mention this before we move on to an Idaho 4 topic. And that is, we were just talking about where the Proudfoot name comes from. And I Googled it. And the first thing to pop up was from familysearch.org. And it says the Proudfoot family history and the name meaning is Scottish. It's a nickname for someone with a strutting or swaggering gait. From Older Scots and Middle English, proud, comma, prude. Then it has like in quotes, proud, haughty. And then it says foot. Alternatively, it may be an alteration by folk etymology of the Older Scots adjective proudful, excessively full, bloated.
Interesting.
Yeah. So it does
like
appear
700.
Scottish in origin.
Yeah.
That's how it
interesting,
appeers.
Interesting. But make sure you guys, this is the True Crime Talk Show. Make sure you guys hit that thumbs up button and leave a comment under the video, after the video, if you have any questions for follow-up. We're going to continue tracking the Sebastian Rogers case, you guys.
And
he needs to be found.
Share his missing poster, please. The face,
share it every
the
chance
description. Oh, keep sharing it.
Yep. The focus needs to be on Sebastian, and we're going to keep talking about it as much as possible. So we appreciate you for hanging out with us during that, and we are going to move on to another story.
Yeah,
now,
I'm gonna link the father's GoFundMe one more time in the chat as well, you guys, because he could use the help since he's out of work to look for his son, and you know, he's one of the only ones doing that. So go ahead.
Did you link it?
Yes, I did.
Okay, cool.
I put it in the YouTube chat though. It doesn't go across all platforms. You
Okay.
might want to do that. Do you have it?
No.
Or do I sent it to you, right?
It's
Yeah,
right here.
there you go.
Yeah, because we have a ton of people on other platforms. So.
Yeah. So me putting it in the chat on here is only going to YouTube.
There we go.
There you go.
All right.
Is it
all
posting
right.
to everywhere?
Yeah. Everywhere that allows a chat. Not all the platforms allow a chat.
Okay,
so,
well, I'll share it on Twitter too.
Yep.
In a
Absolutely.
post.
But we're gonna move on to the Idaho 4 Bryan Kohberger case. Now, hang on here. For anybody that is that has been with us for a while, has been watching us for a while, knows that the main case we're covering and dissecting, and it's the first main case we've had where we start from the front. We don't start from the front. We start wherever, but we dissect it piece by piece. Every video that we have done, we have dissected it one at a time and moved on to the next, and dissected and moved on to the next and dissected. We've done everything from the cell phone expert topics to the differences in GPS to the 113 pieces of physical evidence to breaking down the court documents. Didn't we say we're going to read the newest court document today?
Yes, we did. That's what I thought we were going to do for sure.
Yeah. So, but we're going to go back into technology tonight. And this is somebody that I can give a shout out to. This is from Rumsey. When it comes to trial, if you were the state's digital expert witness, walk me through the process of how you would collect the evidence on Bryan Kohberger. I thought that was a really interesting question. It got me thinking, how would I, if the defense called me up or the prosecution, it doesn't matter, if either one of them called me up and was like, yo, Brendan, we want you as the network expert. Where do we go to find out where this guy was? And I thought that was a phenomenal question. You know, it was a way to kind of help me.
It is interesting.
Think linearly. So I thought that was really good. But we are first going to read the newest Idaho documents here. I couldn't consult for either side, you guys, because of our content. They wouldn't let me. I'm already too biased in how I view the police. I know that I have no idea if Bryan Kohberger is innocent or Bryan Kohberger is guilty, you guys. None. I think he could be guilty. I think Bryan Kohberger could be innocent. I think either one is possible depending on the evidence that is there. I am just unwilling to make a commitment to his innocence or guilt because I don't have all the pieces. That's like asking me to do a science experiment, but don't give me all the tools. Like, here's all the liquids to mix, but no beakers, you know? Like, it's just not possible. However, I have done enough videos condemning law enforcement and their local law enforcement that I would come off biased. So there is no way at all that they would call on me to be an expert of anything. I'm too crazy. I'm not reliable. All right. And there's 5.
There's a whole bunch of new ones now.
Okay. This is what we read last time, right? The objection to the defendant's motion to rescind the order.
No.
Are you sure?
No, there's new documents on the same thing that we were talking about last time from the last documents.
I thought
So remember
read up through the 29th.
No, we read motion to rescind order for failure to provide due process. We read all of them from like the 26th, maybe the 27th. I don't know. But the 29th, we did not read those. The 15 supplemental request for discovery.
Okay, so
And
we didn't read the defendant's 15th.
I don't believe
okay,
so.
well, let's get into this. We'll go through these quick here. So
Quick.
this is the 15th supplemental request for discovery. I'm not going to get into this first part because it is the same thing that it says every single time. We'll start. So we'll start on this sentence. Where is it? Just one long run-on sentence. Pretty much. So they are looking for evidence and materials outlined in Exhibit N. Exhibit N relates to the sealed IGG information and will not be attached to this pleading. Defense counsel will deliver a copy of Exhibit N to Bill Thompson and or Ashley Jennings on 3/28/24 and will provide a copy to Judge on 4/4. Interesting.
Whoa.
Yeah. Okay, this is the declaration in response to defendant's motion to rescind order for failure to provide due process. This is in relation to the questionnaire they sent out, correct?
Yes. So
Okay.
the defense sent out questionnaires to it was basically about things they said were already presented in the media that were public knowledge, asking questions to potential jurors about it. And from everything I have looked up, this is okay. There's nothing wrong with doing that. It is done.
This might be a good one to read, though.
I also saw the lawyer talk on it and saying it is done, but is it possible that they included things in their questions that weren't okay and were trying to taint the jury? He said it's possible, but obviously we don't know what it says, so we can't determine that. So yeah, let's read what this is. Bill Thompson, right?
Comes now the Comes now the undersigned prosecuting attorney for Latah County, Idaho, and as an officer of the court declares and represents the following in response to defendant's motion to rescind order for failure to provide due process filed on March 26, 2024. On March 8, 2024, our office received information from Latah County resident who received an unsolicited telephone survey regarding the Kohberger case. So interesting. Our office promptly forwarded that information to the Moscow Police Department for follow-up investigation to interview the person who received the call. ascertain the nature of the call, and determine who was responsible for the call. Several days later, our office received additional information that another Latah County resident was contacted by telephone survey company. Our office forwarded that information to the Moscow Police Department to be included in its follow-up investigation. On March 12th and March 19th, 2024, Moscow Police Department Corporal Brett Payne provided our office with results of the investigation into this matter, which consisted of supplemental reports 260 and 262 attached to the state's March 22nd, 2024 motion for order prohibiting contact with prospective jurors absent leave of court. During the time between the initial information being received by our office March 8th and receipt of Corporal Payne's supplemental reports March 12th and 19th, our office became aware of two other individuals who received similar unsolicited telephone survey calls. One of those individuals recorded the call and provided a copy of that recording to our office, which was then transcribed by our office and attached to the state's March 22nd, 2024 motion for order prohibiting contact with prospective jurors absent leave of court as Exhibit B. The other individual provided a one-page written summary, which was attached to the state's motion as Exhibit C. It was suspected that the unsolicited telephone survey calls were being made at the request of or on behalf of the defense. On March 19, 2024, Senior Deputy Prosecutor Ashley Jennings reached out to Ann Taylor and inquired whether she was aware of the phone surveys being conducted by the Latah County residents. Ms. Taylor affirmed that she was aware and offered to meet with our office to discuss the afternoon of Tuesday, March 21st, 2024, when she was going to be in Moscow. On March 21st, 2024, the undersigned met with Ms. Taylor, defense investigator Rich Bitoni, and Senior Deputy Prosecutor Jennings. During that meeting, Ms. Jennings and I were told that the survey calls were being made on behalf of the defense. We expressed concerns to Ms. Taylor regarding the nature of the calls and the fact that the calls were affirmatively sharing purportedly factual statements as reflected in the state's motion for order prohibiting contact with prospective jurors absent leave of court and its attachments. We explained our concerns regarding contacting potential jurors and planting purported facts in the minds of those potential jurors who may not have heard the purported facts previously. This is particularly disconcerting because some of the facts referred to in the phone surveys are not true and consequently would create a false impression or understanding with those Latah County residents and potential jurors. We told Ms. Taylor that our office felt the information needed to be brought to the court's attention. We proposed sending a letter to the court and attaching copies of the information received with copies to the defense. Ms. Taylor expressed concern regarding this procedure, indicating that she would want to respond to the information prior to the court ruling on the matter. We then discussed an alternative method to filing motion with the court with the same attachments. Ms. Taylor again expressed concern with our office providing the court with anything before an actual hearing. We explained that a motion with supporting documentation is standard and that is the route we will be taking. Following our meeting with Ms. Taylor, we consulted our attorney staff and decided to proceed with filing a motion with attachments. That motion was prepared and filed shortly before 2:30 p.m. on the following day, Friday, March 22nd, 2024. The state submits this declaration in order to clarify the record what has occurred in relation to the unsolicited phone calls being placed to Latah County residents and to correct certain representations contained in the defendant's March 26, 2024 motion to rescind order for failure to provide due process. Okay. I have so many questions. So many questions.
I'm confused.
I have so many questions.
All right. What are your questions?
Why?
Lay it on us.
How would the residents already know
To record. Agreed.
to reach out
Weird.
to law enforcement,
Weird.
to reach out to the prosecutors?
Weird.
That is strange.
Yep.
That is so strange.
Yeah.
How would they know that?
I mean, that just makes me feel like this community is super biased for one, and they have like plants within the society. Like they're that interconnected that people are like, oh, somebody's asking about Bryan Kohberger's trial. We need to make sure the prosecutor and the cops know about this, you guys.
Right.
Like it feels weird.
You know what it reminded me of? It reminded me
I
of
wouldn't call them.
No.
I would just answer the question.
You receive a telemarketing call with a survey,
Or
like
hang
it's
up.
telemarketing style that has a survey, and your first thought is, I better call Moscow PD.
And Bill Thompson.
What?
Sorry, weird. Super weird.
It doesn't feel, it's so strange. I don't understand. I don't get it. Oh, this is about Bryan Kohberger. Record this. What? I just don't understand, you guys. I don't get it.
Yeah, weird.
It is so strange.
I'd be curious
so uncommon
ask,
that it feels like the kingpin is Moscow PD. Like, this is why the true crime community is absolutely obsessed with this case, is because of weird stuff like this. You don't see this in any other cities. I have lived in almost every major city for at least 3 months' time, in all of them, you guys, and I've never seen anything even remotely close to the behaviors that we're seeing here in Moscow, Idaho.
But didn't it say the initial phone call was to Bill Thompson, that somebody called him first?
No, that's not. Nope.
It didn't say that at the beginning?
Nope.
So somebody called the cops first?
Alerted by them reaching out, and then Bill Thompson reached out to Moscow PD to investigate further.
So they were reached out to by Moscow PD.
Yeah.
And then Bill Thompson
and
was
Moscow
like, okay,
PD
investigate.
investigated, which in my opinion, that is not common either. Once it is in court, normally prosecutors have their own investigators.
They don't continue using the police force? They can.
Look, this is a small town.
Here and
maybe
there.
it's different, all right?
I mean,
maybe it's different.
I mean, we see major issues with that when they do, though, because like Delphi, using like the officers and stuff in Delphi to investigate like the leak and things like that, I think caused extreme bias. And I think that could cause extreme bias here as well. I don't think the officers involved in the Kohberger and Idaho 4 investigation should be involved with investigating anything that has to do with this trial anymore.
I am going to lose my stuff, you guys, if this was intentional. And this is the argument here. Look, Judge,
and
I intentionally asked all the wrong questions to see if this would happen. Now that we know for 100% certainty that anything in the area gets immediately redirected through law enforcement and the prosecuting attorneys, instead of having an unbiased survey, it's proven it's biased. This literally proves that it's biased. Too biased to pull from this area. This proves it 100%. This document is a grand slam, honestly.
Yeah, against himself.
Well, like, it's a grand slam to the argument that this is a biased jury pool.
I agree.
I still have no idea if Bryan Kohberger is innocent or guilty. That he could be guilty as heck, and I still want him to be tried fairly so that we know we have the right guy here, you guys. But this proves bias, and that's not fair. You know?
Yeah.
It's insane. I don't get it.
Can you scroll back up to the top for a minute?
Where?
Just the very
top. The first call? Is that what you want to see? So on March 8, 2024, office received information from a Latah County resident who received an unsolicited telephone survey It was just a regular resident.
So yes, they contacted
The
him.
prosecutors, yes. And
They didn't contact MPD first.
I know. I said that they called the prosecutor. The prosecutor contacted MPD and said investigate.
See, that is my point, though. That is weird, super weird. That not only did they not, they didn't even contact the police first. They contacted Bill Thompson
Dude.
first.
Well, I think calling the police is more weird.
I don't.
I do.
I think calling Bill Thompson first is weird.
The police, why would the police be involved at all in what's going on in the court case? I
mean,
I don't understand.
The reason I could see somebody calling the cops for a call like that is thinking there's so much going on with this case online. Is somebody sending out these calls to mess with the community now? Like, I guess I could see somebody calling the cops about that and thinking that. Like, so I don't know why you would call Bill Thompson if you're thinking that. That would be a call to the police.
Yeah.
Not to Bill Thompson, in my opinion. But why else call the police about that? It's either you're invested in the state's case and you believe Kohbergers guilty, and anytime you hear anything, you're going to call the prosecutor and let him know what's going on, or it's you thought that call wasn't real. You thought it was a fake, and that somebody's messing with possible potential jurors, and things like that.
Yeah, I'm
really curious what was said in that call.
I agree with you.
Like, was it that bad, or like what was said,
I don't think it matters. I think that they reached out to a professional survey company, and that survey company did their job to create an unbiased survey. So why there's a problem with them reaching out and conducting a survey locally? I mean, I can't tell you why. I couldn't tell you why. I have no idea.
Yeah, and Ann Taylor, didn't she approve this before she did it, or no? Did she do it without talking to anyone first? I thought we read in a past document that she did say something ahead of time, that the state already knew she was going to be doing this, and they were okay with it and waited until she did it to then complain. Remember from the last documents?
No, I don't remember.
Okay, well, let me see if I can pull up that last document where I believe she said that.
Yeah. That would be helpful for sure.
I could be getting confused, of course.
Because I do not remember. Jeez, we got like 500 subs yesterday.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Super good. Okay, so while you're doing that, I will look at this.
I believe it's the rescind order for failure to provide due process is what I think it is. Oh yeah, yeah, I believe this is it. So she claims it's a strategic action by the state. The state was well aware of the survey taking place long before its late filing on March 22nd, 2024. Reading the state's filing, it is clear the state was aware of the survey process by March 8th, 2024. The state reached out to the defense counsel on March 19th, 2024, and scheduled a meeting for March 21st, 2024. Yeah. By the time the parties met on March 21st, 2024, the state had at least one transcript of the survey and knew the questions that were asked At no time during the 13 days between March 8th and March 21st did the state determine an emergency existed that must be brought to the court's attention.
Yeah.
So they knew ahead of time, well ahead of time, that this was, and they had a transcript. They knew what was going to be asked. And they waited until it was done to then complain and act like it's some kind of emergency. And you guys, this is on the motion to rescind order for failure to provide due process. And it's under 3/26/2024 on the docket. So yeah, they apparently knew ahead of time and waited. And, you know, I feel like Ann Taylor details it out in that motion really well, how it was strategic. Because them knowing ahead of time like that, this doesn't make their actions after that don't make any sense. So yeah, it feels strategic to wait like that and not say you have an issue before she goes through with it. It's a tactic. You know, I personally have seen through a lot of the state's tactics from the beginning. And I feel like a lot of people are really good faith. You know, not everyone. Some people are all bad faith towards the prosecutor. But some people are really good faith and don't give him enough credit for how, like, strategic a lot of Bill Thompson and his office's choices have been. I think there's a lot of strategy there. A lot.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with
next
you.
document.
Yep. So motion to unseal state's motion for order prohibiting contact with
You're not sharing it.
prospective jurors. Comes now in support of the motion. This is the state. Okay. In support of this motion, the state respectfully represents to the court as follows. The state asks that its original motion for order prohibiting contact with prospective jurors absent leave of court be filed under seal pursuant to Idaho Court Administrative Rule 32. Okay. So, identify certain Latah County residents had received unsolicited telephone survey calls regarding this case, and the state felt it was appropriate to protect the identity of those individuals. The state was also concerned that the nature of the unsolicited telephone survey contacts contained information that could violate the court's non-dissemination order, including information that is factually false. So they're adding on to it. I don't want to read all of these, but
this is I think.
You think
how long is this? This one's important.
Subsequent to the state's filing its motion under seal, an interim order was issued by the court properly prohibiting the parties from contacting prospective jurors at least until the state's motion for order prohibiting contact with prospective jurors absent leave of court was heard and decided. Following the issuance of that order, which did not contain any information that would violate the non-dissemination order, nor any factual information that was untrue, the defense filed a motion to rescind order for failure to provide due process on March 26, 2024. That motion contains representations that are either inaccurate or misleading as to events leading up to the state's March 22nd, 2024 motion for order prohibiting contact with prospective jurors absent leave of court. Unfortunately, the defendant's March 26 motion was not filed under seal, so anyone reading the defendant's motion, whether private citizens or media, will have erroneous or incomplete understandings of the circumstances leading up to the state's motion. Based on the above, it is proper and necessary that the state's March 22nd, 2024 motion for order prohibiting contact with prospective jurors absent leave of court be unsealed so that the publicly available record in this case more completely and accurately describes the relevant circumstances and events, provided, however, that the attachment remains sealed so as to protect the identity of the named citizens who provided information in regard to the unsolicited telephone surveys and to avoid further violation of the non-dissemination order. So just giving further explanation as to why they objected.
Yeah. So what other documents are there left?
Objection. Objection to defendant's motion to rescind order for failure to provide due process.
You see any important parts in there?
I'm looking. Hang on. So, state's motion for order prohibiting contact with prospective jurors absent leave of court filed March 22nd, 2024. Defendant filed an objection the same day that concealed the defense had conducted such a survey and indicated that a memorandum in support and affidavit were forthcoming.
Can you zoom in? Okay.
Yeah, interesting. The order states that the court had reviewed the materials submitted by both parties and that a hearing on the issue will be held as soon as practicable.
The court has now scheduled a hearing for April 4th, 2024, less than 2 weeks after entering the order prohibiting contact. The fuller explanation of the facts demonstrates that this court has provided defendant due process. Due process is satisfied when the defendant is provided with notice and an opportunity to be heard, which is true. But I think the issue Ann Taylor's having is that they notified the state ahead of time what they would be doing, and then they do this and prohibit contact, stop them from being able to do it. And she has to stop carrying out her plans that she notified the state about ahead of time without being heard on it first.
Yeah.
So they had to stop before she could argue why they should be able to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is wild, in my opinion, because we heard at that court hearing that they said, why don't you go ahead and start the surveys? Do you remember the argument that was pitched back and forth where they said it's expected to have the survey ahead of time before the conversation? So then they go forward with their survey, and then the state is like, well, hold on, you can't do that survey, even though the state literally just told them to do the survey.
Yeah. And I mean, this is clearly a tactic. Like, it's very obvious, just like all the tactics with the discovery in the beginning. You know, they didn't have the cast report until now. Literally this past month is when they should have got it.
Right.
So they were never ready for trial. They were always holding back discovery. It was all tactics. All tactics. So I don't know. I feel like it's totally not fair to just look at the defense and say, why are they delaying everything so much? Well, why is the state? Because this is another delay.
It is. It's a massive delay. Huge.
Okay, so there was that objection, and then there's a reply in support of motion. Let's see let me look at that real quick, if it's lengthy or not. I'm assuming this is going to be from Ann, but oh no, it is from the state.
Is this the reply in support of motion? Is it on the 29th?
Yeah.
Okay. So on the 29th, then here, we have reply in support of motion for order prohibiting contact.
And I mean, the first sentence sets the whole tone. Like, first, defendant's explanation of how the survey complies with the non-dissemination order does not withstand even the slightest scrutiny. Defendant argues that hiring a professional firm to contact prospective jurors in Latah County and ask questions embedded with specific facts from the case does not violate the non-dissemination order because the embedded facts were already disclosed by the media. But with respect to both attorneys and their agents, the non-dissemination order prohibits any out-of-court statement which a reasonable person would expect to be disseminated by means of public communication that relates to several categories of information, including the identity or nature of the evidence expected to be presented at trial or any sentencing phase of proceedings. He's saying that them doing this literally eviscerates the non-dissemination order. The defendant, nor can defendant credibly use as cover the survey is asking questions rather than making statements. The mere fact that the identity or nature of the evidence is being presented to prospective jurors in the order or in the form of a question does not bring the survey into compliance with the non-dissemination order.
Yeah.
Jeez. Defendant baldly asserts.
Yeah, someone said the case is so solid we should stall. Right. That's my big question here, right? Because again, like we talked about in the Sebastian topic earlier, is it's always important to refocus and get back to what the goal is of any focus onto a case, right? Whether it's a missing person, whether it is the Idaho 4 case, like what is the goal here? The goal here is to continue with this case and find justice, whether it's Bryan Kohberger or whether it's not. You know what I mean? So when you look at these decisions that are being made, when you take off all the drama, all the flack, all the ridiculous gossip and this and that, and like, you strip everything back to its bare bones here. Is this decision helping this or harming this? In my opinion, all it's doing is harming it. Anytime you hear somebody come out and say, hey, I want a fair trial, obviously they're working towards an unfair trial, right? When obvious signs are there, blatantly obvious signs are there, and but their words are saying the opposite.
Yeah. So yeah, they are saying the opposite and have been the entire time.
Oh, agreed.
Yeah, it sounds like I don't know. It's really weird that they wouldn't point all of this out when they were presented with this whole idea in the transcript. Why did they wait literally till she started doing it and they detail how they get a phone call from somebody in the public? And like, that's how they found out. That's how the state claims they found out.
Mm-hmm.
And Anne saying, no, we actually gave them a transcript. They knew ahead of time. They didn't find out from somebody calling them in the public.
Yeah.
That's shady, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Super shady. Disingenuous.
Yep.
So there's a motion for order presenting a Zoom participation. Is that just the defense is going to be on Zoom for this hearing?
Yeah. Motion for order permitting Zoom participation at hearing for defense witness
You're
Edelman.
not sharing it, so just so you know.
For defense witness Edelman. Comes now Bryan C. Kohberger by and through his counsel of record and hereby moves this court for order permitting Zoom participation at the motion hearing currently scheduled for April 4th, 2024 at 1:30 p.m. Counsel has arranged for expert witness Bryan Edelman, PhD, to be available via Zoom on that date and time. This motion is made on the grounds that Dr. Edelman is Mr. Kohberger's witness regarding the jury survey conducted in support of the defense motion of change venue and is a necessary witness to explain the survey process, the content of the survey questions, and the size of the survey and the impact of the halted work. Yeah, the halted work is just ridiculous because they're forced to show their hand. You know?
Mm-hmm.
They're forced to show their hand here, which can then offer coaching, you know?
Mm-hmm. So I just looked up who Bryan Edelman is.
Okay.
He has a company called Trial Innovations.
Uh-huh.
I'm really curious what exactly he does. So you can share this page and go down, scroll down.
Mm-hmm.
Are you okay? Go down to, okay, so that's their principal consultants.
Okay.
Oh, wait, that's their numbers? Go back up. What does that say?
Added value to help you achieve success.
What is 1 pretrial, 2 trial? Is that the steps?
Mm-hmm. So pre-trial is mock trial, focus group, change of venue study, community attitude survey, interesting, online research, witness assessment, witness preparation, jury questionnaire development, voir dire development, statistical jury profiles. The second step is scientific jury selection, trial monitoring, expert witness testimony, and shadow jury. 3 is post-trial interviews and post-conviction appeals.
So however you say it, it's seating the jury. It's when the jurors are questioned and everything, and they're seated. So press learn more under their pictures. Here we go. So this page says they have over 40 years combined of trial consulting experience. We have developed the methods and expertise to distill even the most complicated cases down to their most critical and persuasive elements. They partner with you to provide valuable insight. They don't stop there. Leverage clinical, social, and experimental psychological experience to help you communicate your story as effectively as possible. At Trial Innovations, we begin and build the partnership by listening to you. How can we help you in your critical research? How does the community think and feel about your case? How can we help the jury understand your story? What do you need? It all begins with listening. And down here, it talks about Bryan Edelman, like who he is, that he's the co-founder of this, co-founder of this company. He's been a trial consultant since 1998. He operates primarily out of Oakland. Okay. Focus groups, mock trials, and surveys designed to provide data that can be used to help make strategic case decisions. He relies on his background in social psychology and group dynamics to assist with trial strategy, jury selection, and trial monitoring. He's been retained as an expert witness to evaluate the impact of pretrial publicity on the jury pool and the potential need for a change of venue. He's served as an expert witness in state and federal courts across the country. He's been retained on more than 40 high-profile cases, including the Flint water crisis, the Aurora Theater Batman shooting, and Jason Van Dyke police shooting. Wow.
Yeah.
Very, very interesting.
They are.
This is super interesting that Ann Taylor retained this man in his company. Fascinating.
It is. It definitely is. Now, hang on here. Where are we at here? So we did the Zoom reply in support of motion to rescind order.
You don't have any thoughts on that?
What? That they hired them? That just that's a standard consulting group, legal consultants.
That's standard in a
Yep.
trial?
Yeah. Well, it's not always standard in a trial, but it is because an attorney normally does the consulting. They
Okay.
if it's a very serious trial, yes, they absolutely do a mock trial almost every time with
Oh.
almost every eyewitness or expert almost every time in a serious trial. So like all that stuff is standard. There's nothing that's outside of what you would expect to see in these situations. But
Very interesting.
I understand why Ann Taylor needed an unbiased view
Of this specific argument.
Correct.
Yes.
Yep, exactly. An unbiased standpoint in this specific situation, right? Yep.
I think it's really interesting. Okay, so what is this document? You need to share it and zoom in.
Yep. This is the reply in support of motion to rescind order for failure to provide due process. The state's objection and declaration to the defendant's motion to rescind the order of court filed March 22nd, 2024 confirms it knew by March 8th of the survey. The state knew by March 8th of the survey.
Yeah, she claimed that in her other document,
Well,
but she's saying the state's objection.
This is the state talking.
No, this is Ann Taylor talking.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yep. I
But
was getting my
she's
documents mixed
claiming
up.
they did confirm it in their motion to rescind the order or
Okay,
whatever.
Yep. The state knew March 11th, 2024, the survey was being conducted by a legitimate company. By March 21st, 2024, the defense had explained basis and validity of the survey. Yet Friday afternoon, the state filed a motion alleging violation of the revised non-dissemination order. This was the first mention of the state made of such an allegation. The afternoon filing on March 22nd, 2024 was done with the intention of obtaining an immediate order without a hearing. Of note, due to the bias and interconnectivity in Latah County, citizens called police and the prosecutor about the survey. The ability of a prosecutor to have an order signed by a judge within the same building within a few hours of the filing and a specific fear of the defense had articulated to the state during the March 21st, 2024 meeting is evidence of the state's intention to facilitate a due process violation. The Fourth Amendment of the United States Constitution and Article 1, Section 13 of the Idaho State Constitution protect Mr. Kohberger's rights. He is entitled to meaningful notice and a meaningful opportunity to be heard. That did not happen here. The state points the court to the state verse head 172 Idaho 564 535 P3D 188 2023 for the proposition that since Mr. Kohberger had received a copy of the state's pleadings and responded with an objection and request to provide further briefing to the court, Mr. Kohberger received due process. In head, the defendant was given multiple hearings and 90 days to respond to a civil proceeding. Reference to head illustrates the significance of the constitutional deprivation of Mr. Kohberger. Even more significant is the case of Nye versus I'm going to hack that, so I apologize if anyone is of that family. Katsalomites 165 Idaho 455 447. Don't laugh in case someone is still can hear that. The Due Process Clause of the 14th Amendment prohibits deprivation of life, liberty, or property without fundamental fairness through governmental conduct that offends the community's sense of justice, decency, and fair play. Procedural due process is the aspect of the due process relating to the minimal requirements of notice and a hearing if the deprivation of a significant life, liberty, or property interest may occur. Mr. Kohberger's life and liberty are at stake. This is a capital case, and he is entitled to be heard on motions pending before this court. Halting preparations for this motion for change of venue denies his constitutional right to a fair trial. The survey work is complete for Latah County, and it shows that the jury pool in Latah County is biased. The state's action that resulted in the Cessation of the survey prevents other county comparisons. The order should be reversed now and in the future. No court order should be entered without procedural due process unless the parties so stipulate.
So she's saying they had already completed their work pretty much. And
yeah.
they're preventing her from comparing it to other counties.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yep. So it's interesting because it makes me wonder if in order for the state to understand exactly what was going on here, they needed to hear the questions first. Once they heard the questions, they were like, oh shoot, this might work against us, because I didn't realize that they were testing it against other areas.
That's a whole, I mean, I think from everything I've heard, this is standard.
I mean, this isn't
for a case of this magnitude.
Yes. Okay.
For a case
of this magnitude, yes,
it is standard.
Absolutely. Yep.
In a DP case like this,
absolutely, 100%.
That they absolutely do surveys like this.
Yeah,
and this is nothing special.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Freaking non-dissemination order. I wish I could literally just tear it up and burn it. So annoying. Okay, what is this?
In the district court of the 2nd Judicial District of the state of Idaho, in and for the county of Latah. State of Idaho versus Bryan C. Kohberger. Notice is given that the above entitled case is set for 4/4/130. So this is just a declaration for a hearing.
All right. Let's see it.
See
that
what?
is tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. And then this document is just saying there's no objection to allow Zoom for the expert. And then this last one again is saying order permitting Zoom participation
You're not showing
at
it.
hearing for defense witness Edelman.
Good.
Yeah.
Good,
Interesting. Interesting. I think that, gosh, I wish I could know what those survey questions are.
Me too.
I wanna
Watch
know
them
what
be
those
something
surveys-
so ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like that. You're like, that's nothing even special.
Yep.
I wonder if anybody who received those calls posted what, since I mean, they were just ready to record it, you know. Did anyone post it online or let us know?
Oh, no way. You think the
what
people
questions?
you think the people from that area that as soon as they received a call about a survey?
No, obviously they didn't let the public know, but I'm curious if
Yeah.
anyone else did. Like, did anyone else that got that call say this is what it asked?
I don't know.
They asked about mainstream media fake news.
I think I'm gonna look at buying a property in Moscow, Idaho, just to get a feel of that area.
You're gonna buy property
Yep, buy a house.
in Moscow?
Yeah, I am. Just so I can watch the workings of the area.
You're gonna move there?
No, absolutely not.
How does buying a house there but not moving there?
Well, because at least it's an investment and I don't have to pay for a hotel when I go out there. I have a place to stay. All property's investment.
Okay.
So, but I wouldn't move there. I would just be out there for, different amounts of time randomly.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Anyway, yeah, I think it's all just ridiculous, to be honest. But I'm really curious how this hearing's going to go.
It's a bunch of games. And again, this is the
Yeah.
stuff that makes me feel horrible for Steve Gonsalves. And
all the parents.
yeah, I understand that. Steve
a lot of
Gonsalves is just the
parents.
one that comes out and talks the most. So when you think
Yeah.
of the victims' families, he tends to come out in the limelight more, just
Yeah.
because he's out in front of more. But yes, every single one of them deserves justice, and every single one of them deserves to know what's going on without having to deal with games that are being played in the court system. I agree with you.
Yeah, I feel bad for all of them, every single parent, because this whole thing has turned into, I don't know, it's just painstaking, isn't it? It's tedious,
Yeah.
it's painstaking. You're just
Someone should be an
waiting
alpha.
endlessly
I'm
for
not.
okay,
What?
somebody should be.
Yeah, somebody should be. There's this idea out there, like,
Alpha's the ultimate.
yeah,
Yeah, pretty much.
but that's cool. I'll take a different one. I am whichever one benefits me in that situation. That's what I am.
Yeah. Is there a term for like someone who's a chameleon like that?
I'm not anti-alpha. I just am whichever I need to be that benefits me. I'm sociopath. But yeah, I just feel bad for them in this situation. I do. I think that it's really unfair. I think that you have a prosecutor that's having to be a prosecutor, okay, and saying, you know, we want a fair trial. We want to be conscious of the victims' families and do what's best for them. And then simultaneously turning their back and doing the opposite of what's beneficial for finding justice. And I'm not attacking Bill Thompson. He has to do that. That's what would be expected from every prosecutor, you guys. And I've said this from the beginning. Like, Bill Thompson, I think, could be doing some shady stuff. But I also think he could be stuck between a rock and a hard place, honestly. And I don't know if he has a choice to do anything but these things. I don't know.
That's a good point. I mean, yeah, he could be stuck between a rock and a hard place. We don't know his position. But I don't know. I tend to see prosecutors and police working together like a team.
I agree. I agree.
And I don't like that. It's not how it's supposed to be. So I don't know. He could be just as involved in any wrongdoing that could have potentially happened as the police.
Yeah.
If there has been any, because obviously we don't know for sure. But
yeah,
we have our suspicions.
Yep. Absolutely.
And
absolutely.
Like the part of it, a big part of it is the university is why. Like when we talked about Baltimore, it was the politicians that paid the police that really that started the corruption, that created the gang, like
the gang
atmosphere.
mentality. Yeah.
Yeah.
The blue blood gang mentality of law enforcement. Yeah.
So like if you are a university and you control most you bring in most of the income to the town, like the police department thrives because of your company, basically. Having them in your pocket would be very beneficial to you.
It would. You know, for a long time, I wondered, like, when our stuff, well, we know, so things started happening around like December time. I wondered if it had some kind of ties to like ISP or Moscow PD.
You did?
Yeah, just because the behaviors that we've seen in that area come off that way. And it's not, but the fact that an average citizen can think that that could be a possibility shows that there are major problems in that law enforcement office at all, right? It shows the lack of trust completely. Because I wouldn't assume that from some average police station. I
Yeah.
assume it. I wondered if it was possible, if there was some kind of tie or connection because of the behaviors that we saw. You know? I was wrong, but it made me wonder.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, I've wondered if, I mean, obviously, a lot of us think that Papa Rogers was law enforcement.
Yeah.
And it could be like the FBI or something, you know, it doesn't have to be Moscow PD or ISP. It could be the FBI looking into things online and stuff because we know they do that. But yeah, I've also wondered if law enforcement isn't manipulating certain channels. Also, like, you know, occasionally we'll get somebody I've never seen before stop by and leave a comment that just is a statement. And it's like trying to push people in a direction is what the impression I
Yeah.
get. That's what I think. I'm like, they
That's
just randomly
different,
say
though.
some piece
Yeah.
of information. And I'm like, where did that come from? And then I'll see like 10 videos about
Yeah.
that topic all of a sudden in the next couple days. And I'm like, that's
Yeah.
weird. I got that comment before all these people made that video.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a reason why I don't watch other content. Not well, I just need I like protecting my opinion
Mhm.
before and then following up on other content after. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's interesting. It's interesting for sure.
It is interesting. I guess I don't do that so much. I watch content. I just don't always have time to get to everybody's content.
There's no right way to do it, right or wrong way. I don't think. I think there's benefit in both. I think it's beneficial to the True Crime Talk Show and Thought Riot podcast that, you know, you have time to be able to watch more and I don't. I think there's benefit there, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But it's definitely interesting stuff, you guys. And
So I thought, was there anything about cell phones with the Idaho 4 case that you wanted to talk about?
yeah, but this took way too long. We're going to have to push it off for tomorrow
Okay.
because we still have to do the members video, which awesome. I'm excited for.
Yeah.
But make sure you guys hit that like button, leave a comment under the video, and make sure you're sharing our content with family and friends wherever you can. Hit that notify button. And we just had literally the best month we've ever had, like by far. So thank all of you. Thank every single one of you. We had over 300% increases on every single metric out there. And that says a lot. That's a huge deal. Even with all the stuff that we're dealing with on our channel, you know, it's been insane, absolutely insane. So thank you all. We're on here for you guys. And you know, we'll let the professionals deal with that stuff. So we're here to communicate with you guys and have a great time doing it. So we appreciate all of you. And if you're not a member and you want to join the members only chat, you can become a member right here, which will open you up for a whole bunch of videos. And I am getting that.
Yeah. And our members only lives after this are really just us final thoughts. It's maybe digging a little deeper, but also like more personal, banter, random talks about random things too. But it's a good time. It's a good after show. It feels like a green room, like after a show where you just like hang
it
out
does
and
feel
talk.
like a green room. It's the
Yeah.
Thought Riot podcast think tank for sure.
It should be, well, this is the think tank. It should be like, we should call it the green room.
I mean,
or
like
something.
working with the members, talking directly with them. And just be on the lookout, you guys. We have a whole bunch of new stuff coming. We are actually had somebody reach out that, well, I shouldn't share that. But yeah, if you want to join, our membership is there. And
always do
our
that.
Discord is, I told you, my mouth goes faster than my brain does. It's something I got to deal with constantly. It is something I got to deal with constantly. But it's okay. I just posted the Discord link, so hop on Discord, you guys, and come hang out with us. It is a really good time.
Totally free.
Yep, totally free. And just remember the normal online safety and security. Don't share any personal information on there. Just like every online place, we have, trolls and fraudsters in there too, and you never know who is who. So just make sure you always prioritize your personal information first. But we get into some pretty awesome topics and lots of content shared on there and videos shared on there. So come hang out with us, shoot us a message once you join, and
Yeah, for sure. It's important to stay safe out there online, you guys. Like, literally YouTube comments and chats and any comment sections and chats on the internet, on any platform, are full of fraudsters and trolls and bots.
Yeah.
And you just got to be careful. You got to be careful out there.
Yep.
And Discord is the same. It's the same as any other platform that has a chat.
Absolutely.
But it's nice because it's our chat, and we post sources there. People share videos, they share what's going on in true crime. It's fun if you like a chat. And you get all of our notifications when we go live 100% of the time because we always post them, and you can message us directly. It's probably one of the best places to contact us other than email. Probably it's faster than email, honestly.
Okay, here we go.
And we try to get to
Bam.
everyone's messages and emails eventually. Are we a member only yet?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So are we in both right now?
We are. Yeah, we want everyone to come over to the members only. Absolutely. Everybody.
Mm-hmm. So thank you guys for being here, and have a great night. We'll see you again tomorrow night.
Yes, we will.
Oh, new
We
member.
sure will.
Firefly, I thought you've been a member before. Maybe it has been a little while. But thank you for joining. We appreciate you.
All right, you guys. Thank you for coming to hang out. This is the True Crime Talk Show brought to you by ThoughtRiotPodcast. And make sure you hop on all of our social medias, Discord, and find us on all the podcast platforms. Remember, we just hit 10 mil 10 million. Yay. Shout out. And we will see you over there.
Yes. Have a great
See
night.
ya.
See you later.